Order. We're
Young blood.
say the pledge. I'm going to ask Alderman Betts to say our prayer. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Again, Father, we thank you for the day. Thank you for your love to us. I pray, Lord, that you will protect our people of our town, workers and people in our town from the heat. I pray, Lord, that soon you would give your grace and a rain. Lord, I pray that you will protect all those who have to be out and work in it. Thank you, Lord, for the way that you have blessed this town. Now, as we discuss the blessings that you have given to us, how we want to spend these things, help us, Lord, to do it wisely. For we pray this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
All right. Thank y'all for coming. And for the second round of our meeting, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and have our roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for the special meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated August 24th, 2023. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Denby.
Present.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Here.
Mayor, let the record show that a quorum of the board is present in the county.
Okay. Last Tuesday, or this past Tuesday, we went through. I went through a list, and the aldermen went through a list, and they're all in a compiled list of some of the wants that we wanted for projects for our hydro local payments. We also carried those forward from last year, the ones that we didn't get to. Most of the money last year was used to pay off our debt, which is just around $12 million, north and south of that, just a little bit. So that was a big undertaking for the town. That's something that we deal with most of that. The only project I will bring back up, probably one of the biggest we're going to look at, and we'll put it up on the screen there for a minute, is our Pope Park. It's what we'll call phase one. And this was something, even phase one is probably going to take 2 to 3 years to get accomplished. If you'll see there, the tennis courts, that area that you see the playgrounds and the splash pad and the parking around the infrastructure around all that will be developed. That'll be the first phase. And that's been one of the biggest outcries is having a playground. It's going to be for not only, it'll be for young children, older children, and even senior citizens and handicapped. It'll be a pretty big playground. The splash pad will be something that's going to be very nice. It'll be right adjacent to the pond. We do have concerns about probably if this all gets approved to, protect people from wandering off into the pond. But that's something we'll address at a future date. Now, the second phase, you'll see the tennis courts. They're going to convert that section of courts into pickleball. Pickleball is something that's really, really grown really fast in our area. And there's a lot of use. Might even have to wind up doing more than one of the sections of court, because that's just how popular this has gotten to be. It's something that everybody can play, even on up into the older ages like myself. You don't have to run very much, I don't think, but it is good exercise. But anyway, that's just a rendering. It'll be available up here, or if anybody wants to look at it, or anybody listening on Facebook, they want to look at it a little bit closer. And then phase 2 and 3 probably of this thing will be including all the soccer fields, lights, walking trails, bike trails, all around the whole complex. So it'll be really, really nice for generations to come. Before we get started into it, I'm basically going to go into the public meeting unless the alderman have thought about something else, or somebody reached out to them for something to add to the list, because I reached out on Facebook, and also if they watched the video, if they had something they couldn't attend the meeting, because we are having them at 5 o'clock. If there's something they wanted, contact our alderman or contact us up here at City Hall, and we'll bring it up and get it on the list. And what we're going to do is, once we have this list, we will meet with the alderman probably one at a time or 2 at a time. We can do that and discuss, hey, this is how much money we have. This is how much money the different projects are going to be. Which ones do you want to put out there? And we'll comprise, they'll decide there, but then we'll bring it to a vote that the public can attend and also be in support of or not of some of the projects that they think is the best interest of the town. So that's how I'd like to see us do that. But before we get started, Mr. Rand Scott, who wears a lot of hats for the town as far as writing grants and helping us with human resources and keeping, a lot of employee information. She came to us. She's been working real hard on some grants. And the reason I'm letting her come tonight, we just got word of some things. I'm gonna let her share with you that we've been working on for a while. She put this together along with, and I'll let her talk about the help that we had from the county agent's office in the 4-H. And I'm gonna let you take it from there, Lorraine.
Good evening, Aircraft Board, everyone that's here. This has been a great day for the town of Vidalia. We've just been getting back-to-back wins and blessings, I should say, from God, because He gets the glory for all of this, for everything. So it was actually a collaborative effort for the TAP application that we did, better known as the sidewalk grant in Vidalia. So we probably need to get a flag that says sidewalk grant, because that's what everybody calls it. So we received notification on today that we were awarded the grant for $2.5 million.
Oh, my
And it is for the sidewalks by the high school, from Carter Street to Concordia Extension, and then from the drainage ditch on Concordia to the riverfront. So that was just part of the overall project that we were working on. These monies will be used to make all sidewalks on that stretch ADA compliant, Americans with Disabilities Act compliant. So it will be new sidewalks. They will be 5 feet wide so that people in motorized wheelchairs will be able to ride down the sidewalk with someone to pass. Also, all of them will have the ramps where they can get on the sidewalks as well, along with the tree removal, the shrubs, whatever needs to be done to make sure that that is implemented. So we're really, really happy about that. The one thing that the aircraft and the city manager and I discussed today was with this infrastructure bill, they want you to do a comprehensive plan for the entire town, especially for rural communities. The way that money had been funded, dispersed previously, we would get the money for Concordia and Murray Drive, and then that would be it. Now they want you to do a comprehensive assessment of the town for all the needs, so that it addresses the points of safety, connectivity, accessibility, and that the economically disadvantaged will be able to access everything that they need. So we did put together a community safety action plan committee, and it consists of members of the police department, the fire department, Miss Amanda Taylor, who is the librarian, Kathy Singleton, she is the Board of Adjustments person, Pastor Riley, who is a community member, and then we opened it up to anyone else who was not politically connected that wanted to assist. And so we've had our first meeting, and Dustin was kind enough to put the survey on there because we do need that data, where it will tell us where there are problems in the town so that can be put in the plan, or any other suggestions that we have. So when we have our next meeting, it'll be open. If someone wants to help make things better, we're all for them. And I see Wayne walked in. I have to tell him thank you as well. He was the engineer that helped to do the cost estimate, because that was just way above my pay grade. I had no idea what concrete costs. So we thank him for that. And there is a lot of funding that is available to rural towns, which is the purpose of having a plan. So now that we've had that part on, the north side of Carter Street, and making sure that all of that is ADA compliant and sidewalks there that connect to the Council on Aging and the library and everything. We want to start on Carter Street because that's where the serious injuries and fatalities have occurred. So normally with the TAP application, it would be a 5% match, but to God be the glory, we don't have to pay a match, and it's sad, it's bittersweet, because we have had fatalities in Vidalia. We don't have to come up with $200,000+ match that we would normally have to come up with. And so we have some ideas in the works, and we welcome ideas from everyone, if you have them. Like I say, go online, we have the QR code on there, you can use your phone, or you can just go in the Google Docs, click on the link and fill it out, and let us know. Encourage everybody in the town to let us know what they think. And the last thing is, we also received the CPEX grant, which is the Community Planning of Excellence grant, which is a small company that helps to pinpoint specific needs for the economically disadvantaged. But we also got that was $150,000. So we also got a $500,000 grant through the RPAC, which is a partnership that we have with the Rapids Planning Area Planning Committee, and it includes Vidalia, Faraday, Slayton, Winfield, and Colfax. Because part of the funding wants it to be a regional planning, so that you won't have one town that's doing well, and then you go through this area of where the other ones are not getting anything done. So we are working on that, Anna Boosh, who is the LSU ag agent for our area, she is a godsend, and we work well together. She's very energetic. She and Jessica Stroop from LSU Ag, and Justin from the Chapelaya Heritage Foundation, and Colin from the Lieutenant Governor's Office are people that I've met because our leader allowed me to go to different conferences, because you can't learn and you can't grow if you stay in this little bubble. So we're moving forward. It's really a city on the move. And, thank you for your support and signing off on my resolution.
That's amazing, and I want to commend everybody who had a hand in that.
That's awesome.
I want to thank them for that.
That's
Everybody.
awesome.
$2.5 million. That's
No match.
That's amazing.
No match needed. That is awesome.
Now, for more information on this, I'm going to allow Anna and Loran, our next council meeting, to actually do a presentation, maybe have some visual stuff. I'm trying to hold silent my phone, sorry. Is to actually show you what some of the plans are. And this all started with a bunch of people showed up, citizens, and we actually walked the streets, and that was something that I think was a big impact. And they said, Loran's done a really fantastic job, because every time all these meetings are held where they, invite these rural communities to show up, and she's there. And that has an impression on the people who are making these decisions on who gets the money. It's kind of like Washington. If you're not there in those rooms with the congressman every day trying to get something, they're gonna forget about you. But she's there. She's a face, and she's done an outstanding job in being there, and really appreciate that. I want to say that publicly. It does a great job. So thank you very much. So y'all will start working on that presentation, and we're looking forward to it next council meeting. All right. So that's basically all we have on our side. Now I'm going to ask if we can get the council to make a motion to go into public hearing and hear from the rest of you guys who didn't get the.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner. Here a second. Second by Alderman Probst. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in a public hearing, and we'd love to hear from you guys on any projects. You want to raise your hand and then come to the podium. Okay, Vivi, come on. You take your time.
Good afternoon to everyone. As you know, I've been asking for my sidewalk forever. So I'm just here to see about the update. And from what she said, I think I might be included in this one this time.
We'll look to see if that's possible, but even if you're not, we can't put the sidewalk out there. We can do that.
Y'all can't do that.
We can.
Thank you very much.
And we'll have it on the list. I think it's already on the list.
It's on the list. But I
Is
brought
it on
up
the
twice.
list?
Yeah, it's
And
on
you
the
told
I
list.
didn't know,
it's on
I
it.
just like to come from time to time, make sure I'm still hanging in there.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. We need to get a cost estimate on it, and I'll get Wynn and them to look and see what it costs the sidewalk.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay, you're welcome. Cassandra?
Good evening, everybody. It's me again. I'm Cassandra Lynch, and I'm the president of the Beautification Committee. And I'm submitting our hydro request for our lovely little town. I want to start with the Carter Street and Riverfront projects. You know, we were very fortunate and blessed to have our little riverboat to land on our side. And now we need to make that a little bit prettier than what it is. I know we have benches out there to sit on, but we need to upgrade that a little bit. They're just plain old benches. So we are asking that we be able to do an upgrade on the benches and put some pretty flower beds out there. And we're gonna have to cut down the weeds a little bit because I'm afraid of snakes and snakes live in weeds. The second thing that we would like to do is upgrade the welcome sign at the foot of the bridge. And the city already made it nice up here by the high school by putting the big old bike in there. They took away one of our welcome signs by putting the pretty bike in there. But that may need a little flower bed around it too. And our famous toll booth. And for those who don't know where that toll booth is, it's right in front of that crawfish place. And we decorated with big tall Christmas tree. We would like to see that look a little better and a pretty flower bed around it. We wanted to ask for a pelican, but we thought that'd be a bit much to have a 6-foot pelican right there. So we'll ask for that next time.
On the top of.
And on the welcome sign, Mike Graves and Ellen had already created a pretty welcome sign that they have talked about. Mike has been out sick, so I have not been able to see it. And Ellen is missing in action because she got her grandbabies and family that she's hanging out with. Our large flag and pole installation, 2 of the beautification committee people, Lynn and John Rowland, that are right there. Y'all stand up for me, ladies, feel like standing up. Lynn and John, they have been working on that forever, and they just don't give up. So they finally found a company in Jackson. We're talking about a flag like when you go to Winsburg. The big old pretty flag that's that old glory that's flowing. That's what we want. We talked about that flag and the pole and the installation. And we finally got the Jackson company to say $40,000. But it's a gorgeous flag, and that includes everything. And they've really been working hard on that for over a year. Right? 2 years. The nice thing about it, if something happens to the flag, men know how to sew it and fix it. Then we're going to talk about the gazebo. Bless that gazebo heart. That's sort of a problem for us because I know all of it's not us, but it looks so pretty when you drive on that riverfront and it's all lit up. But it does need some work on it. We can make it look pretty, but we can't make it look safe if they walk up there.
Structurally, it's in bad shape.
Yes, we need to address that we would like for you to address that part and we'll make it look pretty. And the things that we talked about with that was the lights, the wreaths with the lights around it, the pretty flower beds. And we're also talking about increasing the flowers on the riverfront. But we're gonna wait till it gets a little cooler to do that. We also want to continue to see banners as you're coming up the ramp and you're by the medical center, that we can change those for the season. 4th of July, Christmas, Easter, that kind of stuff. And we would like to be able to put the banners on the light poles. The mayor briefly talked about the botanical art on the utility poles, and that's been something that beautification has talked about for almost 2 years also. That pelican on the riverfront is absolutely gorgeous. And we would like to see something like that throughout the city on those utility boxes. The other thing we would like to talk about, as you know, we're in the process of putting the lights on MLK. And I've learned something today from a bunch of people, Jay and Keith and Cornell, that one part of MLK is going to be no problems. The other part of MLK is going to be a little bit of a challenge because under the sidewalk is the gas, water, and sewer line. So that's going to take putting the heads together and see what can happen with putting more lights down there without causing a problem for the citizens. But we know we can do the first 10, but the other lights, because of those lines under the sidewalk, we have to look at that. And also on MLK, we would like to put a plaque very similar to the plaque that's on the riverfront for Don Jose Fidel. If you go on the riverfront and look on the walkway, you'll see a plaque with his name on it telling you about him. If we do that type of plaque, it'll make the flow come through Vidalia in case we have to add more plaques. So that's just something else that we thought about. For the old historical courthouse, we need to have electrical outlets because we run so many electrical extension cords through that courtyard that it's a hazard. We can see it when we're doing the decoration because we're out there during the daytime. But for the Christmas festival, when it's dark and we only have limited lighting, you can't see. And those little kids be busy running all over the place. And for the senior citizens who can't get their balance like me, we need to be able to make that a little bit safer. And we would like to see some electrical outlets around the oak trees where we can plug in all our Christmas lights. Okay. Our wish list is only $167,000. And if you look at the next page that I gave you, I got in touch with Marcy Wilson, and she gave me a list of all the plants that we could have in our landscape that some of them will come back every year, and some of them don't require a lot of attention. They're called Louisiana super plants. So, and these are the type of plants that we would like to see planted on the grounds of our town. And when we got ready to do them, she's more than willing to come down and help talk us through it, to recommend where the best place for the plant that we want to put in that spot.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
You're on the list.
Keep me on the list.
I do want to say one place I like to look at, and I do have to give Alderman Probst and his wife Cheryl credit for those bushes being pulled up and coming into the municipal complex up here. You notice we pulled those up, and I think that would be an excellent spot to put a really nice, group of plants that I'd like for us to look at doing that, so,
Major entrance.
yeah, it needs to be.
That's seen.
And I'm glad we didn't do it this year, because it'd burn up hard as it is, getting water and
We
all.
talked
We
about
talked
that.
about, we have to do some landscaping and all this here and at the police station.
Yeah, we
And
talked
we
about it.
need an overall complete plan to, with trees and everything else around here, that's in the future is gonna look a lot better with some type of, things growing here already, but, you notice we have already taken everything off the sign coming into Vidalia. And the next thing we're gonna do is take that down. We're gonna remove that dead tree right there, by the fountain. And until we decide, all of us wanna look at the sign that Mike and Ellen have been, have worked on. It really is pretty. And we want something that's gonna be, that fits our area and also is very, very attractive coming into town. And we might there might be another welcome sign put actually up here, welcome to Vidalia, out here somewhere on the municipal complex. So it's just another thing we're considering, so. All right, who's next? Who's got, okay, come on. How you doing, Mr. McClure? I guess I should call him, I think it's Colonel McClure.
Well, retired.
Retired Colonel.
It doesn't count anymore.
He doesn't.
I was just a phone colonel anyway. I had a couple of things. Number one, I wanted to thank Ms. Cassandra for a presentation that you made a couple of weeks ago about refurbishing and using the courthouse, the old courthouse. And I have kind of a selfish motivation in there because we have a lot of military memorabilia that we're collecting, Point Man International, different things we've got over the years. And I think if we were to use part of that as a local military museum to go with the other project that we'll talk about later, I just wanted to give her there you go. You took one item off my list, and that's that tree that's fixing to fall on Young's funeral home. I'm glad to hear that that's gonna, because in a big storm, I had put a video on where limbs were tossing and stuff, and somebody said, well, why does that perfectly healthy tree need to come down? I said, because it's not a perfectly healthy tree. It's got dead limbs all over it. And I take a picture of it about every 6 months from the side of that building to see how much more it's leaning and leaning. And I don't want the city to have to rebuild a funeral home. So I'm glad that's going to get taken care of. One proposal is that I live right behind the fountain in what had been the bakery cottage. And from Magnolia Street down to the stop sign on Concordia Avenue, there are no stripes. If you've been here long enough, you can kind of guess which side you're supposed to be driving on. And I would like to propose, when y'all are resurfacing roads, it doesn't need to be resurfaced, but we do need some lines painted down the middle of it where the visitors won't get off.
Mr. McClure, because if you notice, we recently striped all of our major, Concordia Extension. We striped, there's not the brightest paint in the world, but it is striped.
Well, no, this is the stretch of it that
Carter
goes
Street.
from right by where Smith Printing was, all the way down toward the
Past Reed.
lower elementary,
Right.
right behind the fountain.
There's
He's absolutely right.
Yeah, there's no stripes on it, and I'd like to just plug in for y'all to, add that into the project.
We can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it. That's not something we'll have to wait on.
Yeah, and another just comment I'd want to make, living where we do, we see a lot of people who stop to take pictures by the boot and by the fountain. And a lot of times I'll go out and keep them from having to do a selfie like that and take a picture with them. But it does stop people coming in. And if we add to the sign, then that'll be an even more of a stopper. And usually when I go over to take a picture for somebody, I give them some of the history of the area and point them to some of the good restaurants and places, historical places. And I don't know what happened to Doug, but okay, there you are. All right, well, I'm gonna kind of turn time over to him, but I do want to point out I don't know if y'all can see the thing of the Veterans Memorial that we're working on, that we're in the initial parts of fundraising, but we need to get a pretty good chunk of money right now, so we can go ahead, get it ordered, and then that gives us a timeline to start raising funds for it. So I'm gonna I said everything I need to say, so I'll turn it over to Doug.
Thank you, Mayor Kraft, board members, audience. Thank you for the opportunity to present our idea to you about a Veterans Memorial, formerly known as the Cost of Freedom Tribute. This memorial is sponsored by Point Man International Ministries, American Legion Post 590 of Vidalia, and American Legion Post 4 of Natchez. Point Man International Ministries dates back to 1984. It's a ministry by and for veterans. It offers a lot of information, not just for the veteran, but for his family. Spouses deal oftentimes with the aftermath of service in combat. And so there's information there for them. It's pretty inclusive. Maybe one of the highlights of that website is there's a crisis line that you can reach at 1-800-877-VETS, 1-800-877-VETS. And if a vet is in a moment of crisis, when he calls that line, he'll be speaking to a veteran. But again, thank you for this opportunity to talk with y'all about that. That's who Point Men International Ministries is, and what we're all about is our memorial that we've begun at 270 Front Street on the Vidalia Riverfront. The memorial will be made up of an 80% scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Wall. It'll be 360 feet long. It'll be 8 feet tall at the apex. That being the apex there, and in each wing, the east and west walls. Included in our memorial are tributes to Iraq, the Gulf Wars, Afghanistan, 9/11, World Wars I and II, Korea, law enforcement, and 9/11. It's inclusive in as much as it just made sense when we were thinking about this memorial. Yes, obviously, as Vietnam veterans, we would be exceedingly proud to have that wall in our community. But it does not make sense that because of some of the time lag that we experienced as Vietnam veterans, that finally our nation and ultimately our community here embraced us and said, hey, good job, welcome home. But that timeline doesn't need to happen again. So that's why we want to be inclusive and include all generations. And we also want to include our law enforcement officers and our emergency responders. If you will, look at our display here. Does everyone have an idea of where this is, where this location is? 270 Front Street is the physical address. If you go down John Dale Drive, go straight across Deer Park Road, and you go up over the levee, if you look on the right, there it is, right there. It has a flagpole on it presently. A little bit about our site. We would intend to have a Huey for static display. This represents a chapel that we'll have, a prayer chapel that we want to include in that. I just really believe that's an important part of this memorial. This brown area, this brown line right here represents the wall itself. That's where the wall would actually be. The area in front of it is a walkway that we have discussed and considered to put memorial bricks and memorial stones there as a method of fundraising. These objects here are trees that actually exist that are on the site. We've recently discussed two memorials at the old courthouse site. The idea is to move them and make them a part of this Veterans Memorial here. That's still in the making. No declaration has been made about that, but it is under consideration. And those two memorials would be placed in this vicinity right here, where a sidewalk would lead from the parking lot up and around winding through the other, through the trees, and these other memorials are interspersed through here. Any questions thus far? Funding. Everybody's got a question about that. The amount of money that it costs to build this memorial, let's get the big frog out of the way first. It's $360,000. We're not about to ask you to consider funding $360,000. What that represents is $225,000 for the cost of this memorial, all the ones that we've mentioned. We as a board and as an organization paid $10,000 so that we could lock in the price of those memorials. That was necessary so that we know what our target was. The balance of it from there to $360,000 represents the cost for the infrastructure, the landscaping, the security, what the cost of putting it in. So that's the difference between the total amount and the amount that we need to pay for just the memorial. What we're asking you to consider this evening and make it a part of your plan, if it works out for you, is we need to accrue $60,000 as soon as we can at once, as Colonel McClure alluded to. And what happens when we make that $60,000 payment is we know that 12 months from that date, we can put our wall up. And we believe that with seed money, so to speak, to help us get it launched, there's lots of interest in this memorial. When you get out and talk to people in our community, I'll give you a couple of examples. One group of ladies at a relatively small church sold cookies and cakes and pies, and some members of their congregation contributed too, but they raised over $3,000 selling cookies and cakes and pies. One cake, I think, wound up making $150. I've had business people who have said, I want to be a part of this, and they have readily acknowledged it and supported it that way. Also, we've had a school that participated, third, fourth, and fifth grade school that leads from the front, patriotic people and good American citizens teaching the youth of America. The greatest resource we have is our youth. And those third, fourth, and fifth graders have raised over a period of time more than $3,000 to support this memorial. So again, let me cover this. We ask you to consider assisting us with the $60,000 fundraising. And I would, in light of the remarks that's been made about the flagpole proposal, I would suggest to you that Jim McIntyre is a guy that I've known for quite some time. I have a history with him of flags and flag-related merchandise, but I'll give you an example of where his heart is. When I called him and asked him about the 13 ceremonial flags that we use to represent the 13 KIAs from Afghanistan, before I finished even telling him what it was about, or what we intended to do, he interrupted me and he said, Doug, he said, let me stop you right there. He said, can I sponsor one of those flags? So he is a guy who has his heart in the right place. Not only that, but if you go to our website for our memorial, he makes a contribution to our cause as well. But Jim McIntyre's a great guy, great bit of people to be doing business with. If you need to contact us, you can do so at www.misslouveterans.org, or you can email us at misslouvets@gmail.com. Question?
Or you can stop by the former bakery cottage and just see me directly. Because I don't go far.
I would suggest to you that our board members are Renard Chapman is part of our board, as is Nate Williams, Conrad Anderson, and Glenn McLaughlin is on our board as well. And that comprises our board. Questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Mr. Mayor, I know this is not speaking for the education committee, being a member of it. My support for this.
And
I do believe not only is it something we need to do for our first responders, our veterans, being the son of a war veteran, war hero myself, I believe it would benefit the whole area, bringing people, and I just think it'd be a great thing for us.
I appreciate the word, and I'll just say this, that I've been to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, and it's a solemn place, it really is. And not only I think the sacred and the sacred and solemn feeling you feel for the sacrifice people's done so we can do what we do. It's also something I think would bring people to our area, and especially coming off these boats, would be another attraction. I don't call it an attraction. It's something to come see. I think it's something that would be beneficial. And now it does. I'll be the first to say it's that I have never been in favor of the town funding this. I've always thought it should come from donations and support from other people and private groups. But today, I feel like we should. And I hope that the board might see that as well. And I thank y'all for the work and your tenacity of staying after it. And I think it's something, I guess I've had a change of heart too, because we have the money. You know, if that's something that that people in the public also will have a say in this, once we comprise this list and bring it to the council. If they want to put it on there, you know, it will be brought up in a public meeting. If everybody's in favor of it, your wall's going to happen.
A couple of comments, Mayor. In my memory, I've never seen the Vietnam veteran wall in Washington. One day I will. But every person I've ever talked to who has seen it says the same. In terms of what these memorials mean to veterans, it's hard to put in words in a concise manner, but if you see veterans, even at one of these moving walls, they're making their peace that they've never made before. An example of that, we had it in Natchez in 1992. Memorials are there, yearbooks, bracelets, roses, pictures. If these people come, and this is how they make their peace. Therefore, we do need to improve that chapel. The other thing is that when we talk about our youth groups and the youth of America, and again, I hate the fact, our greatest resource is our youth. We don't have a problem with our youth. The problem we have is leaving our youth. That's where we got to focus. But these young people, speaking in schools, they're focused, they're interested in knowing about what America is participating in terms of war, and they ask leading questions they want to know about it. And we need to make sure that they have that opportunity. From a tourism standpoint, Mayor, and again about the funding, we have been in meetings with state level people who have said that they would support this and offer the support they can, and that they'll step up to the plate and help us find a way to do that. Again, thank you for y'all's support. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Add one more
Okay.
word on that. One of the reasons, besides being a veteran myself, that I really got behind this project is I'm from Jonesville originally. Been living here since 1992. But Jonesville has a really, really nice Veterans Memorial as you go out just west of town. And I just feel kind of insulted that we don't have something like that here in Concordia Parish. I am not totally mentally over here from Catahoula Parish yet, but maybe that'll happen. But I would like to see us have a similar thing to that. It won't be right on the highway, but it'll be where people can come down and recognize those who have given their lives and have served. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, well, I think that's some good projects for us to certainly consider. And I want to appreciate everybody coming tonight. Well, I guess let's have a motion to exit the public. Motion made by Alderman Vernon, here second. Second by Alderwoman Debbie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're out of the public meeting. Of course, the council, I want to appreciate them for being 100% attendance for both meetings, because they didn't have to be here at all, because this is really something to hear from them and also you. There won't be any action taken on any of these things, but I promise you, we will have to put what we feel like is a good number on a lot of the requests some of you have gotten from the public and take a look at it and see how much money we got available and how much, they want to designate to the different things. And I think that we're gonna be able to get a lot of stuff done with this one. Last year, with us paying off the debt, I'll be honest with you, we used up probably about all the money that we did, but that was the thing to do. And now we're recognizing and reaping the benefits of doing that. That was the right thing to do. So, and now, let's get to moving, we can move forward with all this. So I want to thank everybody for coming again, and thank the council for their attendance tonight. So can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Motion made by Alderwoman Demme, here, second. Second by Alderman Smith, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.